You've been to that one friend's place. You walk in and it just hits you. No dishes piling up in the sink, no mystery pile on the floor that's been there since February, no chair that has quietly become a full-time wardrobe. Everything is just in its place, like someone actually thought about it, and that someone clearly lives there because there are plants that are still alive, a throw blanket that was intentionally placed, and something that smells like a candle that wasn't lit to cover something else. And you stood there thinking, how? How? Every single day, because you've tried. You really have. 3 days in, and the chair has claimed another hoodie. The dishes are back. Life just happened again. Here's what I want you to know. It's not about discipline. It's not about having more time or being a different type of person. The people who keep a clean home every day aren't grinding through it on willpower. Their brain is running a completely different program, and once you understand what that program actually is, well, everything changes. Let's be honest about something first. Nobody actually loves cleaning. Not really. The people who do it every single day are not waking up at 6 a.m., thrilled to wipe down the bathroom sink. They're not some rare subspecies of human who finds joy in reorganizing a kitchen drawer. They didn't just get lucky with their personality or their upbringing or some kind of tidiness gene that skipped the rest of us. What they found, and this is the part most people miss entirely, is that keeping their space in order gives them something that has absolutely nothing to do with cleanliness. It gives them calm, it gives them control. A feeling that no matter what chaos is happening out there in the world, in here, things are handled, and once you feel that, you don't stop. Not because you love cleaning, because you love what it does to your nervous system. Today, we're going to break down exactly what's happening in the brain of someone who keeps their space clean every day, what's actually driving it, and 3 small, genuinely doable things you can try this week that aren't just be more disciplined, because that advice is terrible and we're not doing that here. Here's something environmental psychologists have known for a while that most of us haven't really absorbed yet. Your brain doesn't separate your inner world from your outer world the way you might think it does. The space you live in is constantly sending signals to your nervous system, whether you're paying attention or not. There's a concept called cognitive load. It's basically the total amount of mental effort your brain is running at any given moment. Think of it like RAM on a computer. You've got a limited amount, and everything in your environment is quietly competing for a slice of it. Researchers at the Princeton University Neuroscience Institute found that physical clutter in your visual field actively competes for your attention. Every pile of unread mail, every dish that's been sitting in the sink since Tuesday, everything that's been in the wrong place for 3 days, your brain registers all of it as unfinished business. And unfinished business costs mental energy to track, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. So your messy room isn't just aesthetically annoying, it is quite literally making you slower, more tired, and harder to focus. And you probably don't even realize it's happening because it's just always been there. Flip it around. When your environment is clean and ordered, your brain stops scanning. It stops cataloging all the things that need doing. It actually gets to exhale. That's why people who maintain a clean home don't just have a nicer home, they tend to think more clearly, feel calmer, and have more energy left over for everything else. The mess isn't neutral, it's expensive, and your brain's been paying the bill quietly every single day. Here's the deeper thing, and this is where it gets genuinely interesting. Think about how much of your life you can't control. You can't control the economy or what your boss says in a meeting, or whether the person in front of you at the coffee shop orders something that takes 8 minutes to make. Most of life is unpredictable. And for a lot of people, that unpredictability creates this low-level background hum of anxiety that never fully goes away. But your home you can control. Whether your kitchen counter is clear, whether your bed is made, whether the thing you're going to need tomorrow morning is actually where it's supposed to be, those are entirely within your domain. Psychologists call this locus of control, a concept developed by Julian Rotter in the 1950s. People with a strong internal locus of control, meaning they believe their actions genuinely influence their outcomes, tend to experience less anxiety, more motivation, and more resilience. And one of the simplest ways to reinforce that feeling every single day is to take ownership of your immediate environment. Every time you wipe down the counter after cooking, every time you wash up before bed instead of leaving it for tomorrow, you're sending a signal to your own nervous system. A quiet little message that says, I'm in charge here. I can handle things. Even just this, even just today. That's not nothing. That's actually quite a lot. If this is landing for you, a subscribe keeps the club growing and helps more people find it. A thumbs up helps too, genuinely. And I'm curious, are you more of a clean home, calm brain person, or more of a I work better in controlled chaos person? Drop it in the comments. I actually want to know. All right, here's the part that I think explains everything else. The people who keep a clean home every single day have, somewhere along the way, stopped thinking of it as something they do and started thinking of it as something they are. They became the kind of person who keeps their space clean. And that shift, that tiny identity update, changes everything about how the behavior works. Behavioral psychology is very clear on this. We act in alignment with who we believe we are. If your internal story is, I'm just a messy person, always have been, then leaving things piled up isn't a failure. It's just you being you, consistent with the story, easy to maintain. But here's the good news. Identity isn't fixed. Identity is built out of evidence, and evidence comes from your actions. Every time you put something back where it belongs, you're casting a small vote for a slightly different version of yourself. Every time you wipe down the table after dinner, you're adding one more data point that says, actually, I'm someone who takes care of their space. Do that enough times, and your brain updates the story. And once it does, the behavior stops feeling like effort. It starts feeling like just what you do. This is what psychologists call identity-based habit formation. The goal isn't to force yourself to clean every day forever through sheer willpower. The goal is to do it consistently enough that you stop being someone who has to force themselves and start being someone who simply does it. Think of it like a video game where you're slowly building a new character class. Less chaotic inventory manager, more person who knows where things are. Here's something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and once you hear it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. There's a reason so many people reach for a broom, or start reorganizing a drawer, or suddenly deep clean their bathroom when they're stressed, anxious, or emotionally overwhelmed. It's not random. It's not avoidance. It's actually your nervous system doing something quite clever. Psychologists call it behavioral activation. The basic idea is that physical action, especially action with a clear beginning and a visible end, gives your brain a way to process and discharge emotional energy. When you're anxious and sitting still, your nervous system stays activated. It keeps spinning. But when you get up and do something concrete, something where you can see progress, something where there's an obvious moment of done, your brain gets to complete a loop, the dishes get finished, the counter gets wiped, something inside you settles. People who clean every day have often stumbled onto this without ever reading a single study about it. They've built a habit that serves them emotionally just as much as practically. The external order mirrors something internal. The act of restoring their space helps them restore their mind. Picture this, it's 10 p.m., long day. Your head is full of everything that happened, the things you said, the things you forgot, the email you still haven't replied to. You spend 10 minutes tidying, putting things back, leaving the space exactly how you want to find it tomorrow morning, and something shifts. Your brain registers, the day is done, I handled it, it's time to rest now. That's not a cleaning habit. That's a mental health practice, disguised as wiping down the kitchen. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because understanding the psychology is genuinely useful, but your brain is still going to resist the first step. That's just how brains work. So here are 3 small things that actually work. No heroic effort required. The first one is catch it small. One of the main reasons people don't keep things clean is that they wait until it's a disaster, and then the size of the task makes it feel impossible to start. The fix is to never let it get there. Catch it small. Wipe the counter right after cooking. Wash the dishes right after eating. Put the thing back immediately, instead of leaving it just for now. When the mess never gets a chance to grow, maintaining it takes almost no effort. You're not cleaning, you're just not uncleaning. The second one is stack the new onto the old. Behavioral scientists call this habit stacking. You're not creating a new habit from scratch. You're attaching a new behavior to something that already happens automatically. You already make coffee in the morning, wipe the counter while it brews. You already brush your teeth every night. Wipe the bathroom sink right after. The existing habit does the heavy lifting of getting you there. The new one just comes along. The third one is stop making it a punishment. Your brain will avoid anything that feels like suffering. So if cleaning is something you dread, that's the first thing to fix. Put on a playlist you actually love. Make a drink you enjoy. Turn it into a small ritual you actually look forward to rather than a chore you dread. You're not being punished for having a home. You're maintaining a space that makes you feel good. That distinction matters more than it sounds. Your home is not just where you live. It's a daily message you send yourself about what you believe you deserve. When you walk into a clean, settled space, something in you relaxes. Something says, this is taken care of. I take care of things. And when you walk into chaos every day, your nervous system absorbs that too, quietly, continuously. Even when you stop noticing it consciously, your nervous system never does. The people who love being home and keeping it clean aren't special. They're not more organized by nature or more motivated or more disciplined. They just made a quiet decision somewhere along the way that their space matters, that it reflects something real about who they are and how they want to feel, and that decision changed how everything works. If you've got a micro win from this week, however small, a thing you put back, a surface you cleared, a 10-minute tidy before bed, drop it in the comments, genuinely. I love reading them, and so does everyone else who's trying. There's actually a whole rabbit hole that connects directly to what we just talked about. Up next, we're looking at the psychology of people who clean specifically to calm their nervous system and why it's one of the most underrated regulation tools most of us are already using without realizing it. This is Micro Wins Club, small steps towards real change. See you in the next one.